Hi there, and welcome to another scrapbooking process video. Today I'm sharing my pages for my Project Life album for most of May, the earlier and middle part of May anyways. The way that I do my Project Life albums or pocket albums is kind of like it's a place for me to scrapbook my everyday moments. And I don't really keep track of it week by week. Like I don't number my weeks, although I kind of like the idea of doing that more and more as time goes by. I don't do it monthly and I don't do it weekly. I do it something in between. So most of my 2-page spreads capture maybe more than a week, like maybe about 2 weeks worth of memories. It kind of depends. If I'm really busy and have a lot to do, and if I also have lots of time to scrapbook it, I might have a page per week, but for the most part, each page is about 2 weeks. So I have a variety of photos here, and some of these, like that one, is a picture of my daughter quite young, and that was one of those memories that came up on Facebook that I can't remember what year it was from. So that's what I was sort of trying to figure out, is what year was that from, seeing whether I still have it in my photo albums on my computer or not, and I don't. So I don't know what year that's from, but it's basically a flashback picture. Then I have all of these screen caps from my daughter's Instagram stories that captures her little trip to the fair. And I have an app that I've been using to help myself focus. It's called Forest app, and I've been using that for turning off my phone and staying focused on work or leisure activities. Sometimes I just use it for reading. I have another meme there that I think is not going to make it onto this page. So I always have high hopes for these kind of memes and screenshots and stuff, and many of them end up not making it onto my page because I have too much to cover, especially when I'm doing 2 weeks at a time like I tend to do. I have all of these screen captures as well from a conversation my brother-in-law and I had, and I thought it was kind of like a fun conversation that I might want to remember some of the funny things that he said and some of the funny things that I said, and so I just wanted to kind of capture that for posterity. And I print my screen caps up at 2 inches by 4 inches, and that allows you to get the whole screen capture on my size of phone. I don't know. I don't even know what kind of phone I have, but I have like not the largest phone you can get, but not the smallest one either. And so you might have to play around to find out what you have to print your photos at in order to get a full screen capture for you. But coincidentally and conveniently for me, when I print 3 of those, they fit perfectly on a 4x6 photo. So anyhow, that works well for me because it means that I can easily capture 3 screenshots worth of text messages, and they fit nicely on a card. So I took a picture of the dash of my car on a day when it was 31 degrees outside, which is very unusual for where I live in May. So I'm going to want to use that. And I have a couple of stamp sets here. The products that I'm using are mostly an Ellie Edwards Stories by the Month kit. I have a Studio Calico May kit as well in here. And I might have some paper person items from the May kit as well. Those are the 3 kits that I was getting at this point. So I'm just looking through. Yes, there is definitely a paper person kit in there. So I'm just looking through, and I have that May Gratitudes card there that I thought I'd put that meme on perhaps. Then I have this card that has these memories, and I thought I might be able to do a 1, 2, 3. And I thought if I was thinking about actually printing up the photos a little bit smaller so they might fit in those spaces, and then I thought I don't want to do that, so I'm just going to leave it. I keep these blank 4x6 index cards that I buy on Amazon, and I keep them in with my Project Life stuff nowadays, and it's really, really helpful having just empty cards. They're not great quality, so I wouldn't use them for stamping on, but they're really great for backing things or just having on hand. So this card I think really works. It says spring vibes, and there's a place to put the weather, and I thought I might do some stamping there to say that, like, something about it being hot. There's a spring favorites card here that I think is from Paper Person, and that plant card is from Paper Person. I think that this is from Paper Person as well. The Here's the Story. And then the Allie Edwards kit always has a Moments card each month that has like rainbow stripes on it. And so that Moments card I thought would work well with that photo of Scott and Dave in the kitchen. And the Allie Edwards kit always has a May card like that with like a craft background, and it says this and that on it. And I thought I might use that as well. This card says Al Fresco, and I've been spending a lot of time outside on what I call my scrap room terrace, which is the little patio outside of my scrap room. And I love it out there. We bought some furniture so that it's cozy and beautiful. And so, yeah, there's going to be a lot of that in my project life over the next coming weeks and months because I'm going to be spending a lot of time out there. So as you can see, I start by placing the photos, and then I go back and add cards wherever needed. And I like to start with the easiest task first. It just kind of gets my juices flowing and gets me ready to start crafting. So I'm going to just glue these down. It's a bit of a no-brainer. Just stick them down. There's no room for anything else, so I don't have to make any decisions. And that one is done. And now these two together on this 4x6 card, this is a card that I cut down from Kelly Perky patterned paper. She always sends some of that, 3x8 or 6x, yeah, it's 6x8 paper that you can cut down to two 4x6s. And this is the Forest app in which you grow trees. So it's basically like a timer app. And if you leave the timer going and don't turn off the app to do anything else with your phone, it grows a tree for the time that you set it for. So if you set it for 20 minutes, and as long as you don't interrupt it for 20 minutes, you'll get a little tree. And it's kind of like a little reward for sticking to your goals and staying focused. And oftentimes I'll just absentmindedly pick up my phone to check the time, and then it's easy for me to just kind of click away and look at something else, but this app will remind you to go back to it. And so it keeps me on focus. I really like using it. So this card, it says some days and then most days. And under some days I manage to put my phone away and focus on what needs to be done. And then most days my phone can be a big part of what needs to be done, or I just get distracted by it. So I can't put my phone away for most of work because I actually do use my phone a lot for work. So those are the trees that I had at this point. It was May 23rd, I think, when I printed this up. So I just had to check the date on that. And then I'm just going to use a roller date stamp because at the top it says from the 1st of May to the 31st of May, but this is my progress as of the 23rd. So I'm hoping that by the time the 31st comes, I have more trees. And yes, I have actually already scrapbooked the next page, and there were more trees, and I printed that up. It'll be on the next page. So I'm just adding a little label sticker here. This is a Martha Stewart label sticker, and it says, "The Forest app helps me focus and keep my phone away." So those two go on that Kelly Perky patterned paper card that I cut down. I'm just showing the app, and I do film real-time process videos that aren't sped up or edited for my patrons. And so I was just showing my patrons what the app looks like. You can set a timer anywhere from like 5 minutes long to 2 hours, I think is the longest. And the longer you set it for, the more mature the final product tree will be. So it also allows you to categorize how you're spending your time. So I have reading, work, unplugged, and I think I have creative time as well, all as categories in there. So most of my dash is kind of ugly. It's really dusty and dirty, as I think most dashes are. So I cut off most of the card just to cut back on the dark ugliness of the photo. And this way it just focuses on what I need to show, which is my odometer, which shows that it was 31 degrees. I found a stamp. This is from the Kelly Perky stamp set from this month. And it says heat wave on it. There's all kinds of weather icons and a little grid there. And I'm going to stamp out heat wave in black ink. I used my Misty just in case I'd need to double stamp, but I didn't. I'm writing 31 degrees in the place where it says temperature. And now I'm going to journal all the way around this little image. It says, it's not often we see the 30s any time of year, let alone in May. I soaked it up, and then I put the date as 04/12. Wait, that's wrong. Obviously, that's wrong. Yeah, I don't know why I put 04/12 because it wasn't April 12th. It was in May. So now this is a meme that I just captured from the internet. It says what normal people say, and it's like the blood moon, like the actual a photo of that phenomenon in the sky, and then on the other side it shows an image of Breath of the Wild in a Link experiencing a blood moon. Sorry, I'm having trouble explaining. And so it just says what normal people see and what Breath of the Wild players see. And so I just put a little label on there that says May 12th was a real blood moon. And that fits so perfectly on that little card, that square photo. I love how that worked. Now I have this photo of my fridge that I'm going to put a piece of chipboard on. I want to do a roller date stamp here on this data card. So I'm stamping May 16th, and I did use a bit of washi tape just to mask off the year so that it wouldn't stamp into where the journaling is going to go, because I wanted that stamp to be horizontal, not like I didn't want it to be sideways. And now I'm just pulling out my stamps and I'm getting the whole category, the everyday/home category. I knew that I had a stamp in here somewhere that had the word kitchen on it. So I just pulled out all of my home stamps. I do have my stamps in a database, and so it was easy for me to find this if I needed it, but I just knew offhand which one it would be in. So I stamped out the word kitchen, because that says there's a spot there for location, and then there's another spot that says documented by, so I could just keep my stamps in a Razcog over there. I'm going to write my own name under documented by, so Tracy. And then the journaling here says, Liv loves to organize, and every so often I find her in the kitchen with everything pulled out, cleaning. She doesn't want help, she just wants to clean and organize. Look how nice our fridge is. Thanks, Liv. And I don't particularly want her to clean. Like I'm always mindful of, you don't want her to feel parentified or like she needs to be more responsible than her parents are. But I also understand that she enjoys it and wants to do it. And when I offer her help, she says, no, just go, leave me alone. And so I just let her clean my fridge. And I feel badly, but she seems to like it, so I try to not feel too badly about it. So then I have this photo of Scott sitting at the scraproom terrace, and my coffee is in the foreground, and then him and his breakfast are in the kind of further into the photo. So what I'm deciding to do is use some of my stamps. I pulled out all of my foodie stamps, which is a category that I have of just, I knew that my coffee stamps would be in there, and that there were different stamps for breakfast and meals. So this is a set of stamps by Kelly Perky, and it's one of these sets that you can combine to make different labels and seals and whatnot. So I stamped the circle with the fork and knife and spoon, and then I also stamped the circular word breakfast. And then I'm also going to stamp the word coffee talk, but I'm not sure that I want it in black. So I think I'm going to restamp that in navy blue, if I'm not mistaken. What I'm thinking here is that I might cut those out. So I'm going over to my other Razcog, which is where I keep my punches, and I grabbed a couple of different sizes of punches, hoping that one of these is going to be the right size, and it's the 1 inch. So it's not exactly perfect, but it's okay. And I'm going to layer these two stamps so that the coffee talk, which I'm going to restamp in Pacific Point, Stampin' Up ink because I just wanted to add some color. The other stamp was black and white, or gray and white. I think it was black and gray. And now I just thought adding some blue would brighten up this little layered embellishment cluster. So I'm just going to place those two little stamped images right on the part of the table that doesn't have anything on it. Just like that. There. And I thought about cutting off that little edge of the circle that pokes out below the Coffee Talk label, but I decided to keep it. It would look good either way. So now I have to think about what am I going to do with these. And I often think about doing something with these month cards that Ali Edwards sends in her Stories by the Month kits, but I usually don't end up doing anything with them. And this month is no different than all the other months where I'm going to think about it and then not do anything with it. This is where I kind of wish that I documented week by week, because this would be a really great place to pull out my typewriter and type out week 23 and then put the dates. But I decided early on in my project life time that I didn't want to do that it felt like that would be too much pressure for me. I believe I did it my very first year of doing Project Life, which would have been 2011, I think. But then since then, I decided not to do it. So, yeah. I have all of these label stickers, and for now I'm still storing them on on the sheets that they came in. But what I ended up doing was kind of consolidating them all into, as you can see, they're a little bit consolidated already. Like I pulled labels off of other sheets and put them in the blank spaces on this sheet, just so that I could have less sheets of labels that I have to deal with every time I'm looking for a label. But I have another way of storing my label stickers now that works even better than this. So keep an eye out on my channel and you'll see that video if it hasn't been posted already. So I just wanted to show you where I keep those. They're kept right in with my other things for Project Life, which is in the top of that Project Life Razcog. I put my stamps away too. Whoops, I put my stamps away, but I still have a stamp out. So let's get that Coffee Talk back on the sheet. That's a Kelly Perky set. And then I'll put those back in the Razcog where they belonged. Yeah, so I'm still thinking about potentially adding something to this card, but I'm not going to. I thought maybe hashtag May, or even just kind of adding any little thing, but I like those cards a lot just the way they are, so I'm not going to change it. Now here's this card that says Al Fresco. It's a Kelly Perky card, like a paper person card. And I just want to trim down this photo so that it fits nicely in the white space of the card. So I don't want the photo to cut into that gray frame that's around the outside edge. I want a little smidgen of white around all the edges of that photo. There, just like that. And so there's a place that says location. I'm writing out Scraproom Terrace, and under date, I'm writing out May 8th. And then you can check off a box, and I checked off outdoor table. The options were patio season, picnic time, sunset, and snacks. And then on the bottom, there were all these stars, and I just colored them in to say that it's to give it like a 5-star rating. Now this spring favorites, it says spring feels like, and I wrote warm and in brackets this year. Spring tastes like, and I put barbecue. Favorite parts of spring, and I put longer days. Spring traditions, sit outside. Favorite memory from springtime, patio get-togethers with fam. Favorite spring clothes, lighter jackets. This spring, and then I put we can sit out in front as well as out back, because we have patio furniture on our front deck as well as on the back deck. We're lucky to have 2 decks. So now under this card, this rainbow stripe card from Allie Edwards that says moments on it, I'm just going to put this photo of Scott and Dave in the kitchen. Scott's mixing a drink. And I'm just looking for what kind of word stickers there might be or chipboard embellishments that I could add to this just to kind of dress it up a little bit. I found a couple of pieces of chipboard. Oh, I like this one. This one says current hobbies, and I thought it would be funny. I'd put it in the middle of the fridge because that's like Liv's hobby is cleaning stuff. We call her Cinderella. So then there are these little fabric flags that are really adorable from Allie Edwards that I might use in this as well. This little piece of chipboard here, it says the best of May, so I'm going to put that on there. And then I'll just spread some of these other flags around. That one says the best moments of May. So I'll put the best of May right there. And then these are my chipboard pieces, which I was storing in their sheets. I've changed how I store them now, but I really liked storing them in their sheets, but they're gone now. They're out of their sheets. That little heart, that little circle of chipboard says heart you. So now I'm going to document this part. So we have a photo of the four of us on the couch playing Mario Party, and Sophie came in and took our picture. Ah, right. So this is technology, TV, and entertainment. So it's got games and that sort of thing. I knew I had a couple of stamp sets that were specific to games, but I also knew that in my card making supply, which you just saw me go over to, I knew I had this Lawn Fawn stamp set that has video games in it as well. And I think I'm going to start storing that here with these stamps instead of in my card making supplies, because I'm more likely to use video game consoles and that sort of thing in my project life than I am in a card. So my thought here is that even though this May this and that card has this and that spelled on it, I thought that if I stamped out an evening of fun, which is from that board game stamp set, if I stamped that out dark enough, it would overpower the this and that that's already on the paper there, and it does. If you look really hard, you can see that there's something written underneath the phrase an evening of fun, but you can't really tell what it is, and you have to look pretty close. So I think that that worked out pretty okay. This is in a creative bubble stamp set, the one with go and it says let's play. There's a little journaling bit there with some lines on it. So I'm going to use this little journaling one with some lines on it. It says games played and winners. And my first thought is that I would stamp it right here on a piece of extra paper and then cut it out like I did with some of the other stamps. But I'm actually going to do something different with it. So this one says game night, and I love this stamp. I've used it a few other times in my project life, and I'm just looking for the right label to stamp it on. And I've decided to make my own label because I can't find the right size and color and shape. So I'm going to use these Ellie Studio label stamps. I just have to condition this one because I haven't used it yet. So I'm just rubbing an eraser across it very gently. And I want this to be fairly subtle. So I'm using, I think it's balmy blue. It might be pool party. It's a Stampin' Up ink anyways. And now I'm going to, with gray, stamp out game night. And this is not the best paper for stamping on. And I didn't do the best job of stamping on it. So I'm going to use my MISTI, which is what I should have been doing all along. Every time I don't bring out my MISTI, I always regret it. So there we go. That stamped fine that time. it was fine the first time too. It's the game night that didn't stamp very well the second time. So I will position that, pick it up with the door of my MISTI tool and stamp it. And as you can see, it didn't stamp right, so I'll stamp it again. I will stamp it even again. And this ink pad is not all that juicy. It's the Lawn Fawn. I think it's called Storm Cloud. I have 2 shades of gray from Lawn Fawn that I tend to use. So there we have the label and we have the stamp, the title Game Night in the middle of the label. And now I'm just grabbing my Cuddle Kid, which is my small die cut machine that I like to use for desktop use so I don't have to pull my Razcog over with my Big Shot on it. I'm just going to put that in place with a little bit of washi tape and run it through my little die cut machine, and there we go, a perfectly cut label that says Good Game Night. That's going to cover up the table and add a title to that photo. My thought was that I would cut this out and put it somewhere on the photo, but I like Game Night better than that little journaling bit. So I'm going to make it look like that's stapled in place. And then, yeah, I think what I can do is stamp this stamp, the little journaling bit from the In a Creative Bubble stamp set, but I'm going to mask off the edges of this card because the stamp is just slightly longer than the white space on this card. And I'm actually I'm masking it off a little bit more than I need to, just so that there's a little bit of white showing on the edge of where this stamp is going to go. Basically, I'm shortening the lines by adding the washi tape there. So now when I pull away the washi tape, the lines are shorter. I'll put away that stamp set. And now this May, This and That card has become a May, An Evening of Fun with some journaling lines at the bottom of it. And I've decided to go back to that Lawn Fawn stamp set, and I'm going to stamp the console in the gray ink from Lawn Fawn. And then I'm going to grab the little controllers and I'm going to stamp them in multicolored ink in the same colors that we were using. So what we did was we had the Joy-Cons, there's 2 Joy-Cons with each switch, and you can separate them for this game. So you're basically using half of a controller, and then there are these little cases you can put them in, and I bought those colorful cases and we were using them, is what I'm trying to say. It's hard to explain, but anyhow, these colors reflect the colorful cases that we were using on our Joy-Cons. And so I stamped those in various colors of Stampin' Up ink. There they are. So Melon Mambo, Pacific Point, Granny Apple Green, and Calypso Coral. These go up here. I wasn't sure if it would help for you to see where those things are stored. I'm always curious about, how people store stuff, so I'm including a little bit more of that in my process. So there, I like how that is looking up there. And now I have these 3 different photos, and I don't quite know what exactly to do with them, but I decided what I think I'll do is just try to cut them down so maybe they can all fit on this 4x6 card without it necessarily being a flip or anything like that. I didn't want to lose those stamps. Oh, I think I took the controller from In a Creative Bubble because I think I liked that controller better. It looked a little bit more than like the controllers that we were using. But there's a controller in the Lawn Fawn set as well. So I am going to mat all of these photos just to make them look the same. There we go. And I'm just going to layer them a little bit so that nothing too important is being covered. I wasn't there for this memory, so I'm just kind of documenting it secondhand. Go around it to pull the photos together. I'm just adding little hash marks over here and there to just make it look even more doodly. And then I will draw out some lines here for my journaling. And my journaling says, Sophie is feeling well enough now to go out with friends. She and Ty and Maddie and Elliot went to the fair together. She couldn't go on too many rides because she was too tired, but she did hang out with her friends for a good part of an afternoon. It's the longest that she's been out in a long time. So it's nice to see her able to go out and have fun. Now, I have all these stickers, and so I thought, I'm pretty sure there are some carnival stickers in here. I'm thinking there's a Maggie Holmes collection that has a Ferris wheel or a carousel picture or something. I just have to find it. So there, that's the set. There's a Ferris wheel there, and I think I'll put it right here. That gets that sticker used up, which is good. And then I'll take this cotton candy. I was going to put it there, but then I decided to put it over here instead. I'm going to outline around the outside edges of that because the Ferris wheel sticker has lots of black lines on it, so I just want to make those two stickers look more like they match. They're from the same collection, so they ought to match, but they just didn't look like they. The cotton candy was kind of getting lost on the card. And then there's all these little confetti stickers on that sheet, so I just took them and put them all over the page, all over the card. I just keep those in the second tier of my Project Life Razcog, which is right beside me while I'm scrapbooking. So I'm looking for opportunities to use these green word stickers, but I don't think I'm going to find any. Oh yeah, I am. I'm going to find one place to put them. So there's also this flag that says Little Details of May, and then this green flag up here says the best moments of May. I'm trying to get this pink one on, but I can't find a spot for it to live. I'm going to find some words on this sticker sheet that say making plans. I'm going to put that on the Ferris wheel because Sophie made plans for the first time in a long time because she's had mono and hasn't been able to go out. Little Details of May there. The best moments of May. I thought about adding these butterflies maybe here and there, but I didn't really like the idea of it, so I think I'm going to leave them. Yep, I think I'm done. So before I share the photos, just a quick shout out to my Patreon supporters. These folks help make this channel happen, so a great big thanks to them. And thanks to you as well for watching all the way to the end. Let me know if you have any questions or comments. Here are some of those close-up photos. So I love that one with current hobbies. It looks like it got put out of order, but there's the overall one. And then the picture of Sophie with her friends at the fair and our game night. Oh, we look like we're such busy people. So yeah, thanks so much for watching. Take care and have a really great scrappy week.